Welcome back to the Sports Show. Time to get to Bevo's controversial corner, and there has been a fair bit of controversy in the last week as we welcome Bevo from Chewing the Fat. Bevo, how are you?
Smithy, Baz, always a pleasure.
Mate.
Where do we start? Perhaps we'll start with the AFL, and our South Australian teams are not going too well, boys. Port was a little bit better on Saturday night against the Giants. They won all the key stats, the contested possession, clearances, tackles, everything. But they didn't win the game. They lost by a point and they kicked 7 goals, 13. What is going on there?
I'm a little confused by this. What's the key stat? The key stat is winning, isn't it? Isn't that the key stat?
I would say.
So the others are just stats. You know how they, I'm not having a go at you, but I hear them say it all the time. Key stats. We've got all the key stats. No, mate, the key stat is winning.
Scoreboard.
Then the other ones after that are stats. So
it's a good point.
Yeah, no, they're not going very well. Baz doesn't want to even talk about it.
No.
Is it the forward structure? Is there something that Bassett's not doing well with the forward line? Because they get it in there. They get it in there, and Baz, it's been happening the last few years, and you can tell my frustration because I was there on Saturday night. They continuously get it into the forward line, but the opposition continues to take intercept marks like Davis and Haynes did on Saturday night. A couple of years ago in that final against West Coast, McGovern and Barrass, intercept marked after intercept mark. It cost us a game,
I think, I think what Port lack is a bit of polish. That's all they lack. They lack polish. There are times where they came inside 50, which they're doing regularly. There's no issue with that. But it's that last kick inside 50. It's that last one. They're not hitting targets. It's as simple as that. Matter of fact, they're missing them by miles. And the other thing is too, when they get a bit of pressure put on them, they'll bomb it in. Now, you're bombing it into blokes like Sam Gray and Connor Rosie.
Yeah.
They're not big blokes.
Even Garner was there in the last quarter as well.
That's exactly right. So they lack a polished forward, definitely, most definitely, and they lack a little bit of polish getting it in there. So
what's Charlie?
Yeah.
I don't think
No polish on Charlie?
Well, I don't think there is at the moment.
So we trade Charlie?
Charlie's had a long time out of the game.
Yeah, do we trade him? Or
No, I don't
keep
think
him?
so.
Keep him for next year.
Yeah, I don't think
So
you
we
trade
polish
him.
up okay.
Well, I think he'll be okay, but I think people are asking a little bit much of it.
He's been injured a lot.
That was
I'm not arguing.
significant injury.
He does run his guts out and try his heart out. And I saw on Sunday.
He makes a contest.
He does. He tries his heart every week.
And if you're going to bomb it in there, it's all right to bomb it in there to a guy that size.
Yes.
No problem at all. But on the weekend, if you look at the game again, guys on the end of some really terrific passages of play, yet that last kick's a big bomb to a bloke who's 4'5", up against two very big blokes, as you mentioned, in Davis
and Haynes,
who are going to mark the ball every time. And I think it's been Port's problem for the last few years, not just now. It's been a problem for a while. It's polish and execution. But they're not. If Dersma kicks that goal, Port win. Simple as that.
I know.
If they hit the front, they win.
Move on from Port Adelaide.
Okay.
Because you'll be on Port Adelaide for the whole 10 minutes.
No.
Just a bit of polish. That's all.
Bit of polish. No, that's fair enough. Can I just quickly finish? Is Hinkley in trouble if they don't play finals this year?
No.
Why not?
Because, mate, there's 28,000 people there.
No. It's easy to blame. It's a bit like Pike. It's easy to blame coaches. You can't blame coaches because the coaches are not executing out there. The coach is not missing the goal from 30 metres out. The coach coaches you to take that mark 30 metres out. You, who are being paid an enormous amount of money, you're the bloke that's got to kick it. So if you're going to kick anybody out, you kick him out, the guy that's kicking. So I just don't know about coaches. I think they're...
Well, there have been 3 that have been axed this year.
Okay.
And I think everyone's got excited because when they went, their team started to win a couple of games. Now, that's not the true stat. I reckon if you went over the time of the AFL, it's about 50-50. So don't get seduced by we sack the coach and we start winning.
Exactly.
So I'm supporting you. Well, the question is that I reckon with clubs, on the back of what you're talking about, is we can but we tolerate losing for a while.
Yeah.
And then there's the reasons. There can be injuries, there can be all that. But once the crowd starts to drop off and that starts to hit the bottom line and the purse strings, then everyone starts to get really jumpy.
I was disappointed in the crowd on the weekend, but then again, GWS have got about 5 supporters.
Well,
where are you going to get them from?
Yeah, that's true.
That's just not fair, I don't think, to have a go about,
all right,
27,000 turning up for a GWS game.
So Bevo mentioned before we came on the show, the Port have done a good job. If you go back to Matty Primus's time, there were tarps on the stands. Now, I know they've come off and the crowd's up, but now we're disappointed with 27.
Yeah, that's right.
If you had said 10 years ago, you'd have 27 to a game. You're like, wow, that'd be fantastic.
That's double what we used to get. Yeah. So there is positives about it and negatives, but we should.
I just think they're a bit harsh on And who's out there to replace this bloke? You know, and you've got to, the thing with Port is, mate, the last one on Port, because we'll move on with Bevo here, but if you look at the three, if you look at the way they dismantled West Coast, the way they dismantled Geelong, and the way they dismantled Adelaide, you're not getting rid of Hinkley in a hurry. This is all about execution and skills.
And that's that frustration.
That's where they're falling down, because when their skills come off, they beat anybody.
So the question, which is a torturous one for all coaches, is why aren't they doing it consistently?
Exactly
so if I'm sitting
right,
on the
mate.
board, the answer I want is, mate, I agree with what you're saying there, Kenny,
Yeah.
but that's 3 games, mate. Why haven't we done it for 10?
Well,
why haven't we done
exactly
it for 8?
right.
Why haven't we done it
I
for 7?
couldn't agree more, couldn't
And that's
it's
what
a
we're all
real
tearing our hair out
catch-22.
about. And
We're tearing our hair out about the same thing about Pikey.
Yeah, well, let's get to that, because obviously the Blues, a very good win. Credit to the Blues, they played superbly. And Teague's doing a really good job with them, isn't he? I think 5 out of 7 now. He's won with in charge of the Blues. And obviously Pike's, got his critics, and we spoke about this last week about he took them to the 2017 grand final. They're a shadow of that side now. Obviously, speed's a factor. Obviously Jacobs, Gibbs, Greenwood, and Douglas are all playing in the SANFL, and Betts as well. So they've got their issues. Do you think they've got an older list as well? Do you think there's problems there at the Crows? And do you think Pike will be there next year? That's a big one for
you. Well, I don't think Pike's in a grand final in 2017. I don't think you can. It'd be a really bad reaction if they.
I've got a trick question for both of you. Are Adelaide in the 8?
Are they what?
Are they in the 8? Adelaide,
yeah.
So why are people? It's almost hysterical that people are feeding. It's because they lost to Carlton. So what we're actually doing is we're disrespecting Carlton. Carlton beat Brisbane, who are sitting currently in second spot.
Carlton
so you're not talking about the Bugs Bunny. There's no Bugs Bunny team. Maybe Gold Coast are probably the one where you and they can exactly right. So there are no more of those games.
No easy game.
I think you've got to keep it in perspective when you start saying that. They're in the 8. I reckon if you want to be firing some shots at someone, honestly, and I hope they don't, but Melbourne was supposed to be top this year, and they're sitting 17th.
Yeah.
We're over here throwing grenades at Hinkley and Pike, and they're all coming from interstate. I'm going, let's throw a couple back the other way.
I think it's not just the loss against Carlton, though. It's been a build-up of losses the last few weeks, my opinion. And I know they're in the 8, but they're pretty lucky. I mean, Port probably should have been in there if they'd won that game on Saturday night. They've lost 5 games in a row now after half-time as well. So that's why I think the fans are starting to get a bit concerned. And not so much the loss to Carlton, because you're right, Carlton have definitely improved and they're heading in the right direction. And here's my call for next year: they'll play finals.
Speed, mate.
Yeah, they look really good, the Blues. So,
you've said that. You've been saying that since.
But there's certainly a few issues there. But we'll move off the footy. Let's talk about swimming, because that's another headline that's been dominating sport this week. Last week we spoke about how I wanted to have a beer with Duncan Scott and I wanted to have a beer with Mac Horton. Now the Aussies have just completely made us all look like gooses, because they've now got Shayna Jack, who's been found guilty, potentially 4 years suspension of being a drug cheat.
She'll get 4 too.
So are the Chinese now laughing at us, and are the Aussies thinking, oh no, what have we done here?
I don't think so. Mac Horton had no idea. Mac Horton would have done the same thing had he known that Shayna Jack.
You reckon he would have?
He said he would have too.
I don't think there would have been an issue.
No. The problem he faces, though, as Australian swimmers, what they do is they're really strong in their voice about doping and drug taking. Massive power around the world with that. So when you set yourself up to be the spokesperson for it, and then someone does it, the recoil on that is massive. It's a bit like the Australian cricketers. The Indian blokes scratch the ball. Well, give me a bad luck, don't do that again. The Aussies do it and get caught. Well, that's a suspension for that, and that's a couple of years, and he'll lose it. So the swimmers have put themselves in a spot, and rightly so, that they won't tolerate it at all. Then one gets caught. I have no sympathy for it.
No,
Sorry,
I'm the same.
I know with the Australian team, I can talk from my own experiences, that the doctors are there, and we're taught from day one, before you put anything in your mouth, you see the doctor. Don't even think about a cough lolly, nothing, because you don't know what's in it. So the swimmers are, and I know they're treated exactly the same way. So there cannot be an excuse. I mean, you can say she was naive because she's 20, but really? I don't know how.
Not in today's
I don't know how. I mean, it's a bit like, you can say, well, on our side, the AFL, and we're getting the wind up from the floor, man. I'll try and get off my bike. You go, they give you the big lecture on gambling. Yet a guy goes and gambles. So sometimes athletes just do some things they shouldn't do.
Yeah, and it's not a good look.
She's done what she shouldn't have done, but that's not the get out of jail card.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're guilty.
Yeah,
That's the end of it.
and unfortunately we look very silly at the moment because
I don't know whether we
of-
do look silly. I don't agree with that. I don't think we do.
Well, we've got to get off the high horse because we can't sit on the high
I
horse.
agree
'cause
with that.
That's where we've got.
As far as looking silly, I don't think we look silly.
All right, time for us to go, Bevo. Otherwise, the helicopter that's going on the floor down there is going to throw his shoulder out, mate. So we're going to head to a break. Stay with us. Still a bit more to come on the show.